Hello beautiful people of the internet. So, the other day I went out with my friend Darcy, which you've probably already seen on this channel before if you've been following me for a little while. And we had a very lovely date. It was really fun and we talked about a lot of stuff because I hadn't seen her for a while. And then I don't remember how we got to it, but at some point we started talking about music and stuff. And I ended up telling her the story about how I almost signed to a record label. Now, she was all intrigued and surprised and she was like, this would make a very good story time to put on your YouTube channel. So that's what I'm gonna do basically. I'm going to tell you the tale or the story of that one time where I almost signed for a record label. Oh boy. Since this is going to be a story time, like I said, I am going to ask you to just sit down and relax for a bit because it is going to be quite a long video, so get yourself a snack, get yourself a drink. I got myself my favorite milk tea here with me, which is very hot, and I'm just gonna tell you the story, so that's basically what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna try and tell it as precise as I remember because this did happen quite a while ago. I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, so some of the memories may be a bit blurry, but I'm gonna tell it the best that I can, the best that I remember. So it all started 4 years ago. At the time we had a TV show on Belgian television called Gym TV, which was basically a music channel, I guess. So they would play music videos the entire day. They would also have lots of programs around music. It was very much a channel that had as a target group teenagers and young adults. And every Wednesday during the school year, they would do a TV program called Fuzz, where teenagers and other young people could just go into the studio as a live audience. And it would also be broadcasted live on television. So you had a presenter who invited all sorts of people onto the channel. It's like I'm talking about a YouTube thing right now. So they would invite all kinds of people on the TV program, and it would really be literally all kinds of people. So sometimes it would be a music artist, sometimes it would be an actor. So basically everything that was relative to that time, so things that were very in and new, and everything that was very targeted specifically to, like I said, teenagers and young adults. So I never really watched Fuzz that much because I didn't really like the presenter, to be honest. But it was a fun program. I've had friends come there to perform because every single time they would finish the live stream with a performance by an artist. I've had friends also sit in the audience and everything, so it was a pretty big deal. One day I get a notification on my Facebook that somebody has tagged me in a comment. So I go to the comment. I was actually in class that day, so I wasn't really a good student. I check out the comment and it's one of my friends who had performed on the TV program before, and the post itself said that they were looking for red-haired young women who wanted to sing on television or something along those lines. So I replied saying, hey, really cool that you think of me. I do appreciate it, but my hair's not red anymore, it's orange now. And then the people of Gym TV themselves reacted to that comment saying, hey, that doesn't really matter. If you're down for it, you can still just sing for us. And I was like, I guess, whatever. I didn't really have an idea of what was actually happening at that point, so I was like, fine, I guess that's all cool. This is where it gets a bit blurry for me because I do remember sitting in a study room with nobody else, Skyping with the people, I guess, but it wasn't really the performance yet. I think it was just talking to the people. I'm not quite sure, but basically, if I remember correctly, we set a date where I would then sing live on television through Skype, so I wasn't invited into the studio or anything. And then, when live streaming the TV program on my laptop, it suddenly became clear what happened, what was going to happen. I was pretty much left in the dark the entire time, so that's when everything became a bit clear. Because what was happening was, there was a producer who got invited onto the show because he was looking for red-haired girls to audition because he wanted to start a new band with them. So basically he just needed people to audition. And to give him a bit more of that publicity, I guess he reached out to Gym TV or Gym TV reached out to him, I don't know. And he basically just came to the TV program talking about the concept that he had in mind. Gym TV would then, as a surprise, have 2 girls with red hair that would sing for him and for him to tell if that was what he was looking for or not. So I didn't know that until that point. So at this moment, I'm completely freaking out because I'm just going to sing live on television. And I was messaging the girl who had tagged me. Should I use a fake name or the real name? I mean, I feel like I can just be very open and honest with this since I haven't signed any contracts. So I'm just gonna say it. Her name's Laura. So I was messaging Laura at this point, just freaking out and asking, hey, I'm not okay. I am very much all up in my nerves right now. What am I gonna do? What are you gonna sing? Because here's the thing. I wanted to sing an Ed Sheeran song. It was just at the beginning of my YouTube channel as well, and I had covered the A-Team before on the channel, and I thought, you know, it's a song that I'm familiar with, it's a song that I can sing, and that matches really well with my voice, I'm just gonna sing that. And then when asking her which song she was gonna play, you guessed it, she was gonna sing the A-Team by Ed Sheeran, and I was like, well, because that was the song that I had been practicing all this time. And now I just couldn't sing it anymore, could I? I couldn't possibly do the same thing again. So what I did was, in 3-minute times, because that's all I had, I searched another song and I practiced the other song, and I was just all up in my nerves at this point. The thing is done, they called me on Skype, I was Skyping with them, and they would ask me if I would sing a song. So I decided to sing Stay the Night by Hayley Williams and Zad, because I literally had nothing else to sing basically. And then suddenly I hear in my little earbuds, not really panicking, but more like a whoa, 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 are you there, are you there, are you there? And I was like, yeah, what the heck is happening? Because apparently they had lost the connection, they had lost my connection on the television. My camera stopped working for a bit, so sorry if the lighting changed. My battery apparently was dead. Yeah, sorry, this is a new camera and apparently the battery died and I was not aware. So the lighting changed a bit because I had to recharge it. But back onto the story, where was I? So they reconnected me, the lady that was presenting the program just said, you know what, just sing us a little thing again, like just a chorus or something. So I did, and apparently the producer guy said that he was very impressed with my singing, which I honestly didn't believe. I thought he just said it because it was TV. But then later they asked for my contact information because the producer was actually very interested in contacting me. So a few days later I suddenly get a phone call saying that, hey, I like your performance on television, if you want to, I would like to invite you to the audition, there's still so many days left. And then we worked out which days went best for me, and I actually went there together with Laura. So they asked us to perform a cover song of our own, one of our own choice, and another one that they presented to us, which was Thorn by Natalie Imbruglia, is that her name? So I sang the thing, I practiced it, I actually have a video on it somewhere on my channel. It's not a good cover, but I just wanted to, you know, get the feedback, I guess. So I did everything, we went to the studios, and again Laura went first. So she sang the cover that we were supposed to do, and then she sang a song by Lana Del Rey. Her voice is so amazing, she's such a good singer. Like, I still look up to her so much because she has such a good control over her voice, which I do not have because I never had singing lessons. So yeah, she does her song, she finishes it, everything's good, and then it's my turn and the cover goes great, and then I am allowed to sing my own song, and I just completely freeze, like I completely black out. So I was going to sing Icy Fire by Ed Sheeran. Again, not the biggest Ed Sheeran fan, but his music just really suits my voice, I guess, or my voice really suits his music. So I wanted to sing Icy Fire because I genuinely really like the song, and I just completely forgot all of the words. I just completely failed everything because I was so nervous. So we went back home and they told us that they were gonna get in touch with us. I felt so disappointed in myself because I was sure that I was gonna fail it. But to my surprise, they did invite me back again. There were 7 girls that they picked out of the audition that were their favorites, and now we were supposed to learn a song that they gave us, which was a complete new original song that was supposed to be for the band, and we were supposed to practice it and sing it together to see how our voices would match up. So we did, and it was really lovely, and I met all of the ladies, and it was super fun. It was a really great experience just being in an actual studio as well. Again, everything went well, we harmonized. It was supposed to be like a 3-part harmonization, like with 3 different voices, one over the other. Everything went well. And then we got home because they told us that they would contact us again, and they contacted me saying that they weren't quite sure about the final 3, so they invited me again with the other 4 girls this time for another audition. So I went back to the studio, did the entire thing again with a new song, I think even. I did the harmonization for most of the girls because I'm pretty good at that. And then after that I get a phone call when again I was in school, and they told me that I was not selected, that they did not pick me out. It was apparently very close with the girl that did make it into the band because they weren't quite sure, and because my voice is very soft, they were a bit scared that my voice would kind of disappear behind the powerful voices of the other 2 girls, which I guess is a fair thing to say. But on the other hand, I also felt like it was kind of an excuse for them up picking me, but it's fine because at that point I was just super happy that I just got to get this far, that I got to get this experience. And they told me that they were definitely gonna keep my number, and if they have any other project in the future that they would contact me again because they would really like to work with me. And I was like, yeah, that's real cool, but in my head I thought, yeah, it's never gonna happen again, is it? So yeah, I didn't hear from them again for like quite a long while, because the next time they contacted me, my hair was short and orange and it already had the yellow streak in it. So it must have been a year later, of about a year later, that they contacted me again saying, hey, we would like to do a new project and we were thinking of you to do that. So if you're interested, just let us know and then we can see what we can do from there. And I was like, whoa, they actually meant it. They're actually going to contact me again. Like, what is this? So yeah, what I forgot to say a bit earlier is that the producer that went on the TV show was actually one of the two. So there were two producers there. And what I also forgot to say is that my friend Laura did make the band. Can't believe I forgot to mention that. But yeah, the thing is, there were two producers. One of them was very occupied with like the 3-member redhead girl band, and then the other one wanted to do a solo thing, so he contacted me for that. So it was actually another producer, but they worked together very closely. You get what I'm saying, okay? Cleared that out, so now we can continue with the story again. So he has this other project that he wanted to do with me, which involved another singer-songwriter. Like, he looked at me like he was 40 years old and he played the guitar. They sent me a few songs that I could practice, and the guy was there as well, and it was in the same studio where we recorded some of the songs for the band before. And I think I went to 1 or 2 sessions where I would just sing the songs and we would just see what we could do with it. And I had actually a pretty good connection with the guitarist, but that was about it. I'd never heard of it again, nothing really happened with it, and I wasn't one to text or message the producer asking what would happen, because I don't want to be that kind of person either. So I was just like, yeah, if something happens he's probably gonna tell me, and he didn't contact me for like a really long time after that. And when he contacted me again, it was again for the solo project, but a bit more concrete this time, so a bit more in depth, I guess. We set up a date to meet at someone else's house, and I know this sounds very sketchy, but I promise you it's not. That someone else was actually a pretty big name here in Belgium. He was a person who played guitar, but like on a very professional level, because most of the live shows and stuff he would be the guitarist for that. And there's one pretty big Belgian artist called Stan van Samang, which the guy I went to was actually the guitarist of. So every single show that Stan did, he would actually be the live guitarist for that. So he was a pretty big deal. And he had a studio in the shed of his garden. We got together and we basically just started working on some songs. So the songs that I got to practice in the studio, one of them was one that this guy wanted to really work with, so he wanted to do something with it. And we ended up changing a few things here and there, which was pretty good, I guess. The most fun thing of this all is that he then asked me for my own personal songs, because I said that I wanted to write songs and that I wanted to play my own and stuff. He actually listened to them, he asked for them, and we actually worked on them as well. So it was the first time ever that I actually got to be in a studio, sing my own songs, play my own songs, and have an actual producer do stuff with it. Like at some point, a song that I had written when I was like 14 or something was one of the few songs that I had that I said, hey, this is a song that's very important to me. So we played it and he made it sound so good. Like, he just improvised a bit. It was just a bit of a see what you can add to it and see if I liked it or not. He made it sound so good for like not even half a demo. Like, it was literally a verse and a chorus and I was in love with it. It was so good. It came together so well. And yeah, I went to this guy actually for some time that month. So I think I had, in the span of 2 months, I'd been there for like 6 times or something. So I went up there quite frequently to jam with him, to see what we can do, work together on things. And then at some point, before we continued the actual collaboration, the producer got back to me and he said, we would like to have you sign something. We would like you to actually be with our label so we can continue working with you. He then presented me with a contract. He was saying, yeah, it's gonna be great. You will have to be careful with school, because I was still going to school at that moment. We will have to like sort it out how it's going to be, because we will have to need you for a lot of the time. We'll have to travel a lot and stuff, have to do a lot of promo, like shoots, and promote you in different radio stations and TV stations and everything. He made it sound so cool. He made it sound like an absolute dream. dream. I know that I'm someone who, I'm a pretty naive person, I'm gonna put it that way. I tend to believe what people tell me, and not because I'm super naive, but just because I believe in the good of people. And I knew that everything he promised me sounded really, really good, and I was a bit scared that I would trick myself basically into thinking that this was what I wanted, that this was going to be a dream come true, because it's something I've been wanting for such a long time actually. So when he presented me with the contract, I asked him if I could take my stepdad with me just for the contract, because I wanted someone else to be there to judge the situation for me. And the reason why I wanted to take my stepdad is because he's very good at looking at these things very objectively. Also, he works in a situation where he encounters a lot of laws. That means, to me at least, that he's pretty good with things involving the law. Let me put it that way. I'm not gonna say that he's a lawyer or something, because he's not. Again, he's more objective with that. So I really wanted him to be there. And he talked about the contract, and we pointed out little stuff, and he basically told me all of the things that were written in there that were like very, very difficult Dutch. It was written down so fancily that I almost didn't understand anything there was, which I now know is a thing that they do on purpose, just to make you sign things because they sound really good. So I had him with me, and he said, okay, this and that. We listened to what the producer had to say. And when we left and we went home, I asked him what he thought of it, and he said, well, I'm not quite sure actually, because again, it's all pretty words. I don't want you to sign up for something that is going to be very bad for you. So I contacted Laura again, because at this point she had stepped out of the group, which was also something that I didn't really expect to happen. And I asked her what happened first of all, so that was a different conversation because I knew she stopped there. But then I was like, hey, what's this producer guy like? And she was like, he's a bit sketchy, like not in person, but basically he would let you pay for a lot of the studio sessions, and then with the big promise of once we get everything back, it's gonna be all better. And then also apparently another thing that he would do is also pay a lot of the things in advance for you, with the idea again that you would make a lot of money just to pay him back. And I was a bit scared that I would come to this point where I couldn't pay him back. Like, I was taking a huge risk here. What if my music career wasn't as good as they expected it to be? Then how the heck would I ever pay him back? So I was a bit concerned about that. Also, the fact that I'd have to pay for my own studio appointments seemed very weird to me, since it was actually him who rented the studio, I suppose, you know, to record the songs and to make me a music artist, I guess. Like, that sounds a bit weird, but that's basically where it comes down to. So I wasn't completely convinced by that. And then my stepdad, the amazing guy, he found a website where young artists can actually ask help with the idea of trying to not get scammed. It's a website that basically just answers all of your questions regarding music contracts, and there was even an option to send your music contract to them where they would then translate it to, you know, normal Dutch that I would understand. And the guy read the contract, said everything he had to say about it, and apparently the contract didn't really seem to be very beneficial for me, because the things that were written in there were things like, for every concert that I would do, I would only get a 10% of the money from the concert. And the reason why would be because then that way it would make up for all of the studio costs, the instrument costs, like the transport costs and all of that jazz. 10% for a job, because like, I know this is not something that most people consider, but being a musician and doing shows and stuff is tiring. It's an actual proper job. So the fact that you only get 10% of your income for your job, because keep in mind, I was going to do this whilst also studying next to that, because I really wanted to get my diploma, which didn't really end up working out, and I did it. But at the time, that was the plan. I was supposed to go do the shows and do the promos and do everything in my musical career while still studying alongside of that. So for me, the fact that I would do a job and only get 10% of my income basically sounded really weird to me. And then there were also some other sketchy things, like everything that I would write would be theirs. I wouldn't keep any of it, like the profit would go to them. So basically the entire contract was just not really beneficial for me. So I said, okay, that's cool, we can compromise, we can just come to an agreement, because I do understand that making an album and producing songs, getting the promo done, all that jazz, that it is expensive, okay? It costs a lot of money. I understand that. There were a few things that were also very restricting, so I just mailed the producer back because I told him on the spot that I wasn't going to sign anything, I just wanted to read and think about it, and he said it was cool. So I mailed him back saying, hey, so I read the contract and there's a few things that I'm not completely okay with, or that I don't feel really comfortable with. These and these and these things are what I'd like to change about it. It wasn't even a lot. I think it was just a few things, because I don't actually remember everything written in the contract anymore. Can we come to an agreement? Like, I didn't even specify what I wanted these things to be. I was just like, hey, I'm not really okay with these things. Can we just come to an agreement? And I've never heard of him again. I'm not kidding. I have never heard of him again. So again, with the mindset of, am I being annoying? I don't want to be too annoying. I actually don't even remember if I sent him another email asking him if he got my email or something like that. I just never heard of him again. And that's basically the end of the story. It was very anticlimactic, I'm very aware, but that's how it went. That's the story about the time where I almost signed to a record label, I guess. Which, now that I talk about it like this, it feels very surreal. I know it actually happened because I dedicated a fair share amount of time to it, but just the fact that it didn't go back to me and that I never heard of either of them again, like not the producer in the shed, which is a very weird thing to say, I know, but not the producer in the shed, and also not the producer, like the actual producer. Like, I never heard of them again. I don't remember where I put the contract, to be honest. I have moved since then, so it is very plausible that I just threw it out because I didn't need it anymore, or that I kept it somewhere in a box that I haven't unboxed yet. And I also don't have their telephone numbers anymore, because in November last year my phone got stolen and I lost all of my contacts. And in those contacts were also both the producer in the shed and the other producer. The entire experience, though, hasn't stopped me from making music, because since then my YouTube channel has grown a lot, and I even get the opportunity to play my very first concert very soon. There's exciting things happening, and although they may not be going as fast as I would want them to be, I'm still very happy at the place where I'm at, because I also really love my job, and I still love that I do the music because it's a hobby and not because it is a, you know, an expectation or something that I have to do. So that's also one of the things that makes it very, very fun for me. It's been a great experience because I got to record in studios multiple times. I got to hear how a song sounds in a demo form, which is also very exciting. And I just learned a lot about sketchy producers, I guess. So I am definitely going to be a lot more careful the next time around when someone reaches out to me about contracts and stuff. It is a good thing to read between the lines and read like the tiny letters at the bottom of a contract and stuff. So yeah, that's the story, I guess. Again, looking back on it, it's very surreal, but it's a thing that actually happened and that I actually think of quite a lot of times. I just can't believe I haven't really told it yet. So here we are. It's not my story anymore. Now it's our story. It's the story of the internet now. So yeah, thank you for coming on this journey with me, I suppose. I guess that's it for me then. So yeah, thanks again for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!